The gates of Buckingham Palace didn't just close quietly, they slammed with finality when Harry attempted to secure royal recognition for Archie and Lilibet. King Charles's refusal wasn't a small gesture, it was a statement layered with authority, tradition, and an unmistakable warning. For years, Harry has positioned himself as both insider and outsider, simultaneously criticizing the monarchy while still expecting its privileges. But this time, the answer was resolute. Charles drew a hard line, one that said the institution's dignity will not be compromised by personal ambition or manipulation. This rejection wasn't about family tea or casual bonding, it was about protecting the monarchy from being used as a stage in Harry's ongoing saga. The king made it clear, the crown does not bend to theatrics, even from blood relatives. It was a reminder that royal blood may run deep, but loyalty to the institution runs deeper. Harry's request exposed his hope for reintegration on his terms, yet the firm no revealed just how much distance he's truly created between himself and the family he abandoned. From the moment Archie and Lilibet entered the world, their place in royal history has been shadowed by secrecy, speculation, and unanswered questions. Unlike previous royal births that followed strict tradition, complete with formal announcements and ceremonial transparency, there's unfolded behind closed doors. Reports of secretive hospital stays and a lack of verifiable documentation fueled public doubts. Whispers about surrogacy and unconventional arrangements have lingered, refusing to fade. For a monarchy obsessed with lineage, legitimacy, and ceremony, this cloud of suspicion has been deeply uncomfortable. The crown thrives on order and clarity, not on ambiguity. Harry's push to have his children treated with full royal honors only reawakened these old debates, raising uncomfortable questions the palace has tried to suppress. Were his intentions really about family bonding, or were they a strategic attempt to solidify his children's royal connection amid lingering doubts? The fact remains, Archie and Lilibet symbolize not only innocence but also a rift between tradition and modern controversy, an unresolved chapter the monarchy is unwilling to reopen. Harry's attempt to bring Archie and Lilibet into Buckingham Palace was no innocent family visit, it was a calculated move, a bold power play wrapped in the appearance of parental duty. But Charles, seasoned in both family dynamics and political maneuvering, saw through it instantly. This wasn't about tea and photo opportunities, it was about asserting leverage, about reclaiming relevance by forcing the crown to acknowledge the children in a royal setting. But the king's no dismantled the entire strategy. By denying entry, Charles ensured the institution remained untangled from Harry's ongoing public drama. The refusal stripped Harry's move of power and left him exposed as a man trying, yet failing, to manipulate circumstances to his advantage. It revealed how fragile his influence has become and how thoroughly the monarchy has fortified itself against his tactics. What could have been framed as a symbolic reconciliation instead turned into a harsh reminder of boundaries. The crown is not a revolving door, and Harry is no longer free to stride in and dictate terms. His gamble didn't just fail, it backfired spectacularly. Behind Harry's insistence on bringing Archie and Lilibet to the UK lies a much larger, more strategic concern: custody. Legal experts have begun speculating that this visit wasn't about family unity at all but about creating a paper trail of physical ties to Britain. In the case of a custody dispute, which seems increasingly plausible given the cracks in Harry and Meghan's marriage, demonstrating that the children have emotional and geographical roots in the UK could be crucial. It could serve as leverage in court, painting the monarchy itself as part of their upbringing. This theory casts the visit in a far darker, more tactical light. Meghan's absence, combined with Harry's urgency, only fuels suspicion that their marital unity is unraveling and that Harry may be planning for legal battles ahead. If true, the move wasn't just clumsy but dangerous, dragging innocent children into the crossfire of his personal and strategic ambitions. The palace's rejection, then, wasn't simply about protecting tradition, it was about refusing to be used as a pawn in what could become an international custody chess game with devastating consequences. One of the most striking details of this saga is Meghan's total absence. She didn't fly with Harry, she didn't step into the palace, and she hasn't issued a word of public commentary. Her silence is not accidental, it's calculated. Meghan understands the volatility of public opinion and the value of distance when scandal erupts. By staying silent, she avoids being tied directly to Harry's failed maneuver. Some argue she's letting him take the public hit so that she can preserve her image for her next big Hollywood or media opportunity. Others believe her silence is a protective shield for the children, shielding them from further drama. But for many observers, her absence speaks volumes about the state of their relationship. If she believed in Harry's strategy, wouldn't she have stood beside him? Instead, she remains in the background, waiting, watching, perhaps preparing to spin this rejection into her own narrative down the line. Silence, in this case, may be her sharpest tool, a way to preserve her brand while letting Harry absorb the humiliation. When King Charles rejected Harry's request, the fallout was swift, brutal, and public. Tabloids wasted no time in splashing headlines across front pages, mocking the Duke denied. Social media amplified the rejection, turning Harry's failed visit into a viral spectacle, with thousands of users poking fun at his sense of entitlement and misplaced expectations. The sting was harsher because this wasn't just a private rejection, it was a public spectacle, a global reminder of how far Harry has fallen. Once adored as the people's prince, he's now viewed as a man desperately knocking on a door that won't open. What Harry framed as a paternal gesture instead highlighted his lack of power, influence, and control. Worse still, the humiliation reinforced the public's perception that he wants the privileges of royal life without its responsibilities. For Harry, who built his post-royal identity on the idea of independence and freedom, this very visible failure was a devastating blow, not just to his image but to his credibility as a serious figure in both Britain and America. Adding to the drama was Harry's insistence on reinstating taxpayer-funded security for himself and his children during the visit. Despite losing his legal battle with the Home Office over this very issue, Harry reportedly wanted King Charles to personally foot the bill for armed guards. This demand struck many as tone-deaf, entitled, and completely disconnected from reality. How could a man who voluntarily walked away from royal duties, and who has spent years criticizing the institution, expect the crown to cover his security? The optics were disastrous. It painted Harry not as a concerned father but as someone unwilling to accept the consequences of his own choices. This security demand only reinforced the idea that Harry is still clinging to royal perks while rejecting royal responsibilities. For the monarchy, acquiescing would have set a dangerous precedent. For the public, it was another example of how far Harry has strayed from the values of service and duty he once represented. His request wasn't just rejected, it was laughed at, becoming yet another reminder of how badly he's misjudged the situation. Harry's attempt to bring Archie and Lilibet into the palace didn't silence the speculation surrounding them, it reignited it. For years, rumors have swirled about the circumstances of their births, the secrecy surrounding Meghan's pregnancies, and the lack of transparency in official documentation. These whispers have haunted their legitimacy in the royal line of succession. By pushing for royal recognition now, Harry inadvertently brought those questions roaring back into the spotlight. Why was he so insistent on this visit? Why now? And why such firm resistance from the palace? Insiders suggest that Charles and senior royals fear allowing the children into Buckingham Palace would reopen debates the monarchy has worked tirelessly to bury. It could spark inquiries about their future inheritance, their eligibility within the royal line, and the very narrative of their legitimacy. Instead of normalizing their place in the family, Harry's move drew more suspicion. The palace, in its silence, spoke volumes. Better to lock the doors than risk unraveling old wounds that could damage the crown's stability for generations to come. Perhaps the most powerful element of the entire episode was the silence of the royal family. No public comment from William, Kate, or Camilla. No quiet briefings to the press. No hints of sympathy. Just a united wall of royal frost. That silence, carefully maintained, was more impactful than any words. It conveyed a message of strength, of solidarity, and of finality. For a family often accused of leaking or briefing the media, their ability to hold the line underscored just how seriously they are treating Harry's attempts at re-entry. The refusal wasn't just Charles's decision, it was the entire monarchy drawing a boundary. The family has moved on, and Harry is firmly on the outside. For the public, this silence confirmed what many already suspected. the rift is not only permanent but institutional. Harry is no longer viewed as a member of the team but as an outsider whose actions pose a threat to the monarchy's image. The silence wasn't passive. It was a weapon, and it left Harry utterly isolated. What this episode ultimately revealed is the stark reality of Harry's fading influence. Once celebrated as Diana's beloved son, the cheeky royal rebel, and later the soldier prince, Harry now finds himself stripped of relevance. In the UK, he is unwelcome and distrusted. In America, his Hollywood glow is fading as public sympathy wanes and media interest declines. His memoir has lost its impact, his interviews feel repetitive, and his brand struggles to stay afloat. The palace's rejection made clear that he cannot return to the royal fold on his own terms, while Hollywood no longer views him as the underdog hero he once embodied. Meghan, strategically silent, is already positioning herself for her next move, while Harry appears increasingly isolated, caught between two worlds where he truly belongs to neither. The gates of Buckingham Palace are shut, and with them, perhaps the final chapter of Harry's relevance as a royal figure. The crown has chosen to protect itself, leaving Harry a man adrift, no longer a prince in practice, and no longer a star in the world he tried to embrace. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.